Welcome to the Unmuted Podcast. This is our first podcast episode of the year. We are so happy that you guys have joined us as we just talk about a lot of things. Obviously, Pastor Ron's here, Pastor Leroy's here. We are just so excited, and we want you guys to know that, like, throughout the whole year, there's going to be a lot of guests, a lot of episodes, a lot of talking about stuff, because I feel like there's a lot on our minds that we want to talk about. But first off, how are you guys doing? What's going on?
Hey, man, I'm cold. Take me back to Florida. Hey, let's do a mission trip to Jamaica.
Oh, I'm down. I'm down. I'll go anywhere right now. I'll go anywhere. Warm, right? Anywhere that's warm, dude. Anywhere, bro. I'm not going to say that because we have a member who... Never mind. Okay, Leroy, how are you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro.
Good. So, before we get into it, has there been anything, like, before we get into our topics or whatever... has there been anything that you guys have been reading where there's some interesting facts, interesting theories in regards to Bible or life? Like, what have you guys been kind of taking in info-wise? Like, is there anything that you guys would share? Like, because I know you're reading like 5 books a week. You've been texting us about the books that you've been reading. Anything you guys would want to share?
Yeah, I think what a lot of people that are still dealing with the post-COVID culture that we live in are still looking for friendships and relationships. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to something on the way in today. It's a book I'm reading as well on relationships that was talking about the fact that why is it adults have such a difficulty forming friendships? And, when we were all young, we went to all the same school, played the same sports, went to the same clubs,
mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. Proximity. We were together. Went to college. We were friends with our roommate as well as the guy across the hall, but not the guy all the way down the hall.
Mm-hmm.
But then we all scattered after college. And some people got married, some went in the military, some went to work. And our work buddies are not our friends because they're all at different life stages.
Yeah.
One guy's got 3 kids. He's running to soccer camps all the time. Another person's near retirement. And so people just, I think today, are yearning for connection. And I think that's what I'm reading and sensing and feeling right now. In spite of their busyness, trying to keep themselves busy with work and all that, people still want to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't know how.
Yes. That's a great point. How about you, Roy?
So for me, I think kind of to piggyback off of him, people are trying to self-develop right now. And I know for me, like... just some of the groups that I'm in and being on certain like Zoom calls with people, with a bunch of people, and everybody just trying to figure out like how can they be better tomorrow than they were today, and not only that, they're trying to figure out like, so I know you guys have both read Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's kind of like the thing right now where like everybody's trying to figure out,
read it.
like everybody's trying to figure out how to do the small things consistently to make their habits better, and that's kind of where I'm at personally. Just trying to be diligent on all of the little things to make sure that when the big things come, you can handle it and you can know how to operate. So
yeah, I've been like, obviously, like, I'm in the technology like video space. I've been watching a lot of like Wes Huff because he's been kind of circling the socials, and then I've been really diving deep into Mel Gibson because he's doing the Passion of the Christ too.
Yeah.
And basically he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was talking about it. He was saying how it's really gonna be the whole gospel story from when the angels fell to when the last apostle died. So I'm really excited about that. And just hearing the gospel presentation on Joe Rogan's podcast twice in a week, I'm like, dang, there's some real shits being made. And then I also heard some really weird stuff like apparently there's this like theory going around that where Jesus died on the cross, it wasn't very far from where Abraham sacrificed his son, and that Adam's skull is buried in that same mountain
and the blood dripped down into the
and it's crazy. And then I heard another thing is when Jonah was kind of praying to God in the well, they said that some of the wording that Jonah said is he said like, I am in the place of the dead, and some will say that maybe Jonah's just talking about being in the ocean, but some are trying to speculate that Jonah died and came back to life and all this stuff. And So yeah, I've been kind of just like looking up Bible theories and
you can
always,
you can always go down those
on their hands.
Yeah, yeah.
With all
Like,
that.
people just be coming up with- I'm like, dude, just read it as it is, the book, and just move on. But but then I've also been like just looking at, because Wes Huff breaks down all of like the evidence. So he's been breaking down all of these old documents, and it's been interesting just seeing how we found so like. And Romans 1 basically talks about this, where like Paul's like, yeah, like the sky itself is proof that God exists. Like you don't need the gospel to learn that God is real. And it's like we have so many documents that prove that this thing that we follow is a real thing. So that's helped me a lot.
It's funny, we actually were talking about this. We were talking about this last night. We were talking about just how many people still they rather worship the creation than the creator. Because, and I know we talked about it before, but like a lot of people now are all about, Mother Earth and how the universe is their God and their creator, or whatever. Well, not even their creator, but just their God and who they follow and how they got to pray to their universe to get certain things. And I'm like, but the Bible is clear. Genesis talks about it. God created this universe, this earth, this world. Like,
1,000%.
So you're worshiping the thing that was created, not the creator. Mm-hmm. Why?
That's good. So I've been doing a lot of study too about how scientists are continually discovering that what they thought is absolutely dead wrong.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so I can't remember the guy's name, but about 100 years ago, they thought the universe was static. It wasn't growing, that it was just here. They didn't know how it got here, but it was just basically this stationary, static, wasn't expanding kind of place. And then 100 years ago, this astronomer discovered that the universe is expanding.
Yep.
And of course, as we got the Hubble telescopes and others, they discovered the same thing. The universe is expanding. And so by the time this podcast is done, I was reading this book, this guy said, by the time you finish reading this book, the universe is expanded by 3 million miles. Now think about that. Think about that. I mean, every half hour, 3 million miles. And you take that, and it just blows your mind as a scientist when you thought everything was in order and stationary and static, and we could explain everything. Now we can't explain anything.
Now, nothing.
Because every time we turn around, our own telescopes are showing us we were dead wrong.
100%.
And I think that's just so cool, because it's like God is up there saying, yeah, should have asked me. Should have asked me.
Yeah.
I would have told you.
Exactly. It's crazy. And then I've been getting a lot of questions, because like I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. So I've been getting asked. Yeah, dude, I'd be going on some rabbit trail.
Oh man,
people been calling me about drones. So and I just posted a clip on my Instagram yesterday, basically talking about like my view of aliens. Is that like I do think that the Bible doesn't talk about them for a reason, because for some reason, like even as a kid, bro, it felt like our society like indoctrinated us with space. Like we had Buzz, what's his name? Lightyear.
Oh yeah.
And
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, like,
I'm
talking
he grew up.
You were talking about
Buzz Lightyear.
Toy Story.
Buzz Lightyear, and then Superman, he could fly in space and all this stuff. And it's like the true phenomenon is like, I mean, we all believe that heaven isn't a place you can fly to. It's a realm. Like our bodies don't go to heaven. Our spirits do. Mm-hmm. And so I've been just talking to people about it. Like I believe that it's a dimensional thing, not a Earth to space thing. And so people are like, yeah, no, there's definitely aliens in the sky orbiting over us right now. And there's been a lot of proof that whenever that aliens, when people have these alien encounters, they always come to Earth saying, we're this newer society, blah, blah, blah. And then when most people say the name of Jesus, these aliens vanish, which makes me think, Satan is the author of confusion. They could be demonic beings,
I absolutely believe,
that are meeting people and 100%. Saying these things, and where people are running with, this idea. And someone said to me this, like, you're always making everything super spiritual. I'm just like, bro, the whole world revolves around this, bro.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we wrestle not against the flesh. We wrestle against principalities and spirits, the things that are unseen. That's like you said, when you look at that, there has to be evidence that demons are what we're fighting against, not necessarily aliens that came from another planet. Like, because they're controlling the air.
I read a book last year about I think it was out Creation Institute. That was talking about the fact, could it be, this guy was just speculating, but could it be that these flashes that we see in the sky, that we think is some kind of UFO or some kind of mysterious observance of the sky, could that be when the other dimension where the spiritual battle is taking place between demons and angels, particularly when it just crosses over and we can actually see it happening. Is that a battle taking place right now up in the sky? And then once it comes through right and the light appears and, man, it's angels and demons fighting each other. And I thought about that and I thought, man, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I thought that could be true.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That could be true, that we're actually seeing something that's taking place as the dimensions cross each other. Mm-hmm. And, again, the Bible doesn't explain all this. It doesn't say how it says we're in spiritual word. It doesn't say how it's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you,
there's some
strange things that we're going to, when we get to heaven, we're going to go, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, we got it.
I wanna read you guys this. So it says this: Aaron Rodgers won't stop talking about the Hat Man since his ayahuasca trip.
I did read that.
It says not much is known of the mysterious Hat Man, except that Aaron Rodgers first started seeing the shadowy figure after his ayahuasca field trips in Peru during the 2020 and 2022 offseason. Aaron says he will sometimes appear in the distance, usually veiled by darkness, holding the corpse of a dead rabbit and sometimes a blade. Now a lot of people have been going on these trips, right? And basically the ayahuasca trip is like where you go on these trips, you take these drugs, and you're kind of like, I'm pretty sure you're like adventuring through a forest while super high on these ayahuasca drugs, and all these people, they come back with revelations. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't been the same since he's done that trip. I mean, if you've seen someone in the press, he be talking crazy. So like that's another thing where I'm like, dude, like. And this is where, and Joe Rogan talked about this, and I saw a video, I think it's on a channel called Vice, I think, where they track like drug lords and stuff. But one of the guys on Vice said that he took drugs to battle demons. Like he took the drugs to go to this place and to call them out. And he was like, it didn't do anything but get me more addicted to the drugs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now he's in rehab.
Now he's back.
I tried.
And it's like, bro, like, as much as I believe that there's, whatever, the Bible also tells us, like, don't chase after these angels. Don't dig too deep.
Facts.
Because you'll find some stuff that you don't want to find out about.
I don't think that we don't want to uncover what's under some of those rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
we
true.
don't. Yeah. And there's so many people, Christians as well, that are trying to. There's a difference between finding documents and actually trying to see what's going on in the spiritual world. And I think taking drugs and I think these drugs could take you into another place. But I do think a lot of it's in your head. I do think a lot of it is in your head.
Look, in my day it was LSD.
Yeah.
Everybody was tripping on acid.
Yep.
And some of the greatest songs that were ever written were as a result
People
of
say
LSD.
they get clarity on them things. But
and the Beatles talk about that some of when they were going through their drug years. John Lennon talked about that at one time. That some of their best music came out of those years. I think they do take you to another dimension. But then it opens up your mind and your heart to all the crap that's there.
Yep.
All that demonic influence and activity that's it's almost like the demons are saying deacons. Oh, there's almost like
you want to go viral now.
Yeah. It's almost as if the demons are saying, yeah, go ahead, trip on that. Yeah, we'd love to meet you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Because Joe Rogan said that when they do DMT, there's just like monkey or like this. It's this like, oh no, it's an elf.
Yeah.
And everybody talks to this elf.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're like, it shows me like the truth about myself. I'm like, that sounds very anti God and Bible to me. You know.
And all the time, God is saying to us through the scriptures, seek me.
Yep.
Know me.
Yep.
I will open up your mind.
Yep.
I will give you understanding. Look at the book of Proverbs. How many times God says, seek me to know me so I can give you wisdom.
Yep.
You're searching for wisdom. Yep. I will give it to you. But it becomes cooler to drop some acid, take this mushroom, OD on some gummies. And then it gets us open to the other realm that's out there, which is the demonic forces.
And Westhoff was saying this on the Patrick Bet David podcast. He was saying that people love new stuff. You know, like people don't want to face the truth where seeking God is boring. Like seeking God is praying every day. Seeking God is reading your word and praying your word. Seeking God is being with your church family. Like, but that's boring. People want to take the LSD. People want to do these things. People want to fake, speak in tongues or fake these healings and have all these to make it seem like it's crazier than
novelty sells.
what it actually is. Yeah.
And not only that, it's work. people lazy. They lazy.
1,000%.
They don't want to work that hard. Like it's like you said, with being believers, you have to actually work at it to be a real believer. Like it's not, you can't just take a pill and be a believer. Like you got to actually work. You got to, like you said, you got to read your Bible. You got to actually study. You got to learn the word yourself. You got to like pray for your family, pray for yourself. You got to be in connection with other people that are believers. Like all the things you just said, but you got to do it consistently.
Yeah.
So after like a week, people are like, "Nah, I'm done with this. I don't want this."
Yeah.
100%. And that's why like Romans 1 really opened up my eyes, because Paul is saying like not just the proof that God is, the sky and all of the things that we have, but we don't view the sky and the clouds and the fact that we're able to see stars as that. Like that's a spiritual experience of itself.
Yeah.
The fact that we're able to take telescopes and be able to look at the moon, that is a spiritual experience that we're able to see these things. And I feel like as if Christians started viewing the sky, the fact that we have a phone where I can do anything I want. I control my whole life on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we view that as God, I thank you for giving us this. I thank you for the sky. I thank you for cars. Like I think that'll change a lot of humans to say, I don't need to go and find these things. And
you talk about a lot of people find it boring, or you're saying this, Steve, and I think it can be boring if we don't tap into the Spirit.
Yeah.
If we just read the Bible, just say, okay, I did it. I did my duty, God. I read my 5 chapters. Okay, God, I prayed my 10 minutes. I can check that off my list. But if we're really open to the Spirit is a whole lot more fun. Than what anything demons could give you.
1,000%.
The Spirit is like, when you really walk in the Spirit, it's new every day. It's like Lamentation says, your mercies are new every morning, because it's just punching the clock. It's just doing the duty list. It's just keeping the disciplines. But when you add the Spirit to it, the Spirit, there's life and power. New every morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So I did want to talk to you about Lift, because Lift is like our year theme for the church, and I already see changes kind of happening in people in our church. And I think the biggest thing is a lot of people are getting serious with their like weight loss right now in the church.
There's been, have you noticed that?
No, there's really been a lot of conversations about it, and like a lot of people,
there's been less donuts at the hospitality bar on Sunday. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, bro, it has been, and like a lot of people are like really talking about it, which exciting. I'm about to say names. A couple people were talking to Maria about, because she did a video on, she made like a low fat buffalo dip, and I kind of overheard a couple of females at small group talking about. I'm like, I'm happy that like it's kind of making it circles around. So can you kind of go over what Lift is, and then we just kind of just want to break it down and have more convos about it in a more of an in-depth thing.
Yeah, just give you the quick view of it. So one of the things that coming out of COVID, coming out of the political turmoil of 2024, out of the economic downturn, all those kind of things we've been through, I just felt like people needed a lift. They've kind of gotten discouraged, depressed, kind of self-focused, and nothing's going right. And so, but a lift in every area of their life, not just spiritual, but physical, mental. And so last week, the first Sunday of the year, when I challenged people, to read the Bible, to pray, and all those things. But hey, read a book. Read a book each week. Or if you can't read a book each week, read a book a month. That's a great start. Feed your mind. I started on a diet. Pat put me on one the first, and because I was just feeling lethargic, and so I said, I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
And so Lift becomes, Stevie, this mental focus of, I want to go to the next level in every area of my life. Not just one, not just two. I want to become healthy in wisdom, in finances, physical, relational, family, work, every area of my life. I want to see it lifted up from where it is to the next level that God wants to put me on.
Yeah.
And so people started grabbing onto this. I've got people came up to me Sunday and said, I started reading the Bible for the first time in my life.
I had a lot of people in my group, my small group, said they were talking about, oh, I definitely got to make sure I'm reading 5 chapters. And I'm like, I thought y'all was already done. Everybody's like, no, we got to get 5 chapters.
As pastors, we just think
that's a wake-up call for us.
That's a delusion.
I got to check back on y'all.
Hold on.
But in one other area, just, of course, my big thing is finances, just like yours is in Marvel, stuff and all that, and I appreciate that. Almost bought you something the other day at an antique store. It was this Marvel poster from the 60s. Long before you were born.
Next time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get it next time. And but mine is finances, because I want people to enjoy the freedom of being able to make choices without having to worry about, hey, we can't do that because.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to say, we can do this because they've saved, they've invested, or whatever. So, but a lot of people, you said it well, are lazy. They don't want to put in the work of mentally changing their habits.
Yep.
Of doing the work that's going to be required. You go to the gym a lot. I know you work out, and man, it's hard to get up and drive down to that gym. And I drive by a gym every day when I'm leaving my house, and I go, man, look at all those people in the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
I really need to be there. But until I decided, until I made the mental decision, I'm going to do something about my finances, my health, and once I started, and I'm only 14 days into it right now, I feel better in every area of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I made that mental decision to make a lift in those areas.
And like, even from going to the gym, right? Like, I feel like, so some people do get past the, like, I'm going to get up and go. But the hard thing is the results. Because when you're in the gym, people think that, like, after, and for some people, after a week, you will drop in weight, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you hit a point to where, like, if you're consistent enough, you won't see the craziest results ever.
Yeah.
And people get stuck in the, like, all right, I'm being consistent and I've already had my big drop, but now I want to go higher. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like there are some people, and what happens is they get past that and they hit another kind of, I don't want to even say a roadblock. It's like, you've been doing excellent for so long that now excellence seems normal to you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fall back to that stage one where now they're starting over again, And so so I can't wait. My prayer is that we go from Lift this year, and I'm not saying a name for next year because I don't know what that is going to be, but I hope that the next problem is that, okay, we've been consistent for the whole 2025. What's next? I hope that's what we're going to go into, like next year of like, all right, this is how you sustain that. Like this is how you keep this up without burning your stuff out. So I was sorry.
No, I'm good.
Real fast.
You go ahead.
Real fast, because I feel like you guys have the perfect answer to this. So my friend, he's in my young adult small group that we do on Google Meet. It's basically like it's basically like a young adult pack. To make a long story short, but he's a sales guy in Miami. When he jumped on the call last night, of course he has the Miami City behind him. Right. I mean, it was beautiful, bro. He had his expensive water. I'm like, oh, you got money, huh? You got money, man. Like he's doing his thing. But the one thing that he said, I feel like I am leaving everything that I have to chase after this bag, because he said he got like top salesman of the year last year, but because of that, he feels like he has to go even a level higher. Yeah. And his question was, and this is what I think some of the people that are engaging in Lift could really use. He said, how do I know if I am burning out, and is it okay that I'm working this hard? Now, I told him about how life is more of a rhythm than a actual, like, straight line. Because I was kind of telling him how, there are seasons where you got to be locked in, right? Like when you first started Covenant Church, right? We really just talked about it. You said you had to tell Pat, hey babe, I am going to be out a lot. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be doing this. And for this season, I need you to just hold it down at home. And that's what she did. You're in a season now. You're working countless hours. Like, seeing you be able to sit home on Sunday and watch a game warmed my heart, because I know I know for real, bro. I know how many hours you work. You know what I'm saying? So what would you say to that guy of like, how do I do this without burning out? How do I know if I'm doing too much?
Yeah, I think when you lose focus, I think is the main thing. When you're not keeping your focus, your mind is like it's scattering, because that's usually a signal in your brain is trying to tell you that it's overloaded and it can't handle everything you're trying to do. So you're like, you just like those dots are moving all over the screen, and you've lost focus. And I think a second thing is when you see personality changes, you become more irritable. You have a deep senses when you're alone of discouragement or anger. So when those things start coming out, you're probably burning out.
Yeah.
But we all are made differently. Some can work 40 hours a week. Some can work 20 hours a week and get tired. I can work 60, 70 before I hit I'm really feeling tired. Yeah. God made us that way. But I think to answer your question is, I think when you lose focus and when you see changes in your personality, then those are signals your body and your mind are telling you, wait a minute, the pedal's too heavy on the metal.
Yeah. How about you, Roy?
Yeah, I'm picking back off of him. I think, like he said, personality changes. Like, if you're irritated with your family, you're probably burned out. I mean, especially if it's like a constant thing. Like, I know for me, like, I even had to, it was probably a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yo, I'm tired. And I was like, yo, I need a day just to refresh. And I literally told my wife, I said, I know I don't ask for this often, but I just need a day to just sit home. And that wasn't even the picture that you seen the other day. That was like a couple weeks ago. And I said, yo, I just need a day to sit home. Because I was off that day. But originally I was going to go do all this other stuff. And I said, yo, no, I need to just. So you got to know yourself. And you got to know, like, all right, yo, I'm good with going hard. I go hard. I do what I need to do. I can work as much as anybody, whatever the case may be. But you got to know yourself and know, like, all right, if I'm feeling a certain way, I'm getting agitated or I'm just drained and just burnt out to where, like I need to actually know how to take that rest or take that time to refresh so that I'm not irritated, so that I'm not burnt out, and then come back to it. So,
Yeah. Something that I've learned is that there's a big difference between tired and burnt out.
Yeah.
Like we are tired all the time.
Yeah.
But when you're burning out, it really means that you are putting too much on yourself and you can't handle it.
Yep.
And so when you guys are doing Lyft, like, don't think you have to change everything at once.
Yeah.
No, take it one step at a time. Take it one step at a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I do feel like with Lyft, because I'm telling you, so many people at our church are excited. And excited people want to change in a matter of 2 days. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
One step at a time. One step at a time. Okay, so so we just talked about finances. So what was your mindset when you thought about Lyft, as in regards to like consistency and reading your Bible more and educating yourself more? Like, what is the mind behind all that? Like, why do you think that people need that consistency in that area when it comes to Lyft?
Yeah, so I think who you're doing it for. So if you're doing it for yourself, you're going to be like those people going to the gym right now, got their membership at One Life or whatever, and by March, the parking lot's only half full. As I drive by, because they just get burned out. They get tired. They get frustrated. Or things come into play. So it's who you're doing it for. Are you doing it for you? You doing it for another person? Or are you really doing it for God? If you're doing it for God, so what I do when I get up every morning, I say, Lord, how can I please you today? And sometimes God will give me 2 or 3 things. Sometimes he gives me nothing because he's okay with me. We're good, until the morning starts anyway. Yeah. And so I think I'm learning, as Ephesians says, ever living to please the Lord.
Yep.
Lord, how can I please you? So when I looked at my body, and I weighed more than I'd ever weighed before back in December. I mean, for 6 months, I've been eating like junk. And I said, Lord, you can't be pleased with the body you own. I'm going to do something about it. Lord, you can't be pleased with my prayer life because it's gotten shorter because of the demands of my businesses and church and all that. Mm-hmm. So I just said, Lord, I'm going to start living up to you. I'm going to look you every day at the end of the day and say, are you pleased?
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me sustained in the game. Because if I'm doing it for me, I'll go on to something else after 60 days. If I'm doing it for my wife, I'll do it as long as she's on me about it.
Yeah, amen to that. You ain't
right.
one.
You ain't lying about that
one.
Right? And then when she's on to other things, I'm good. Yeah. But if I'm doing it for God, I meet God every morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to look him in the face and say, how can I please you? Or are you pleased? Amen. And it's not a rebuking thing. It's not a judgmental thing. It's just like when I was young and I wanted to please my dad. And the best way he was pleased was when I polished his Sunday shoes, that little black polish, that you would put on and you wipe it with a sock or something. And my dad would just beam because I had pleased him. That's how I want my relationship with God to be. That's how I stay sustained and consistent in my disciplines.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's where you're pointing to, because like I look at like so many guys on Instagram and X and TikTok, whatever. Hopefully, he's not banned in 2 days. Hopefully.
That's right.
But Elon, do something, man. We need you to buy this TikTok. But because like when I look at other business people, I think when it comes to and you're an entrepreneur, I am starting with my whole YouTube thing. I know you understand what it means to do that, and it's like a lot of entrepreneurs burn out because they don't have a greater thing that they're looking towards, and that's where I feel like a lot of Christian entrepreneurs outlast. Like they might not be as successful as an Elon Musk or whatever, because to be a billionaire, that just takes a lot of your life. But it does seem like a lot of Christian entrepreneurs that I know, at least, they outlive all of the other guys because there's a greater thing that they are working towards. So now here's the next question. And
I was going to say,
go ahead, sorry.
Well, I mean, Carson Wentz has a great saying, and it's kind of what you said, and I think I said before too. Like when I first started working here, right, doing like Saturdays and stuff. Yeah. People would always say, like, how do you come in here on Saturday every week and, like, just knock out stuff? You be here for 10 hours, whatever. And I would always say, like, I said when I first started, I couldn't stand it. But then I realized who I was doing it for. And that left me from burnout. That left me from getting tired. That left me from, like you said, all these other things that come with, like, what are you focused on and why are you doing it? Ron said it already, if you're doing it for you, you might last for a little bit. But it ain't gonna last that long, But if you're doing it for him, so that's why his Carson Wentz saying is audience of one, because the only audience is God, not nobody else. Yeah, and I think it's a great thing, and I think you can use that as motivation, especially for business or whatever else you want to do. So
exactly. My bad. And so, question for you then, because I think that one of your strengths is you're very consistent with people, as in like. I'm going through a phase right now where in youth group I'm getting very angry because a lot of our students they're like on fire and now they're not, and they're just going back and forth, and my patience is starting to lose a little bit. I'm like, yo, bro, you got to figure it out, dog. Like we ain't gonna keep doing this over and over. Versus where you're more of like, I'm gonna sit with you and walk with you in life. We're gonna go down the road. So that's not really me.
Yo, don't make me sound all soft though, bro.
No. Sorry. Leroy's more like, I'm gonna walk with you down the road. But you'll walk with them down the road versus where I'm trying to kick them down the road. You know what I mean? Because I know that during Lyft, right, what is going to happen this year is that there's going to be some that's going to take off. They're going to be on fire. But then there's others that they're going to take off strong, but they're going to fall back. And then the people that are taking off, they're going to be trying to grab them. Come on, let me bring you along. So, Leroy, what has helped you with being patient with others in this spiritual walk when they're falling back and you're not slowing down, but you're kind of having to grab their arms and bring them back up? How have you been able to do that without kind of losing your cool? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So I learned this early on dealing with certain people. I had an incident where I was dealing with somebody, kind of bringing them along, coaching them, and all that, pouring into them, like everything into them, like, yo, I got you, I'm gonna hold you, whatever, like, just feel like you're giving them everything, and then they fall back. And they fall back so far that, like, there's no, like, helping them. So I learned, like, I can want to put as much as I want to into you. But if you ain't willing to do the work, there's only so much I can do. Now, I'm still going to be there for you. I'm still going to cheer you on, all that, rah, let's go. But I'm only going to give you so much, and then I'm going to tell you to keep on coming. But I'm not going to, like, exhaust myself for you, but I'm still going to encourage you. I'm still going to bring you up as much as I can. You know what I mean? So being patient in that, but also understanding that people have their own time frame on when they're going to get better and when they're not. You know, so
it's a great point. It's a great point. So basically, having a boundary of like, if you want it, I'm here.
Yep.
If you're constantly trying, I'm here. But if it's like I keep pushing you and you're kind of pushing me away, I'm going to fall back.
Yep.
And you got to come to me, kind of thing. And I think that's a big issue in our Christianity too, is that a lot of people don't know how to set boundaries when they're holding each other. Holding someone accountable doesn't mean you're putting them on your shoulders and you're running them to the finish line. No, I'm running with you, which means you got to keep up with my pace.
Jesus didn't do that. You know, in John 2 it says, many wanted to follow him, but Jesus would not commit his heart to them because he knew what was inside of them. And so Jesus didn't chase after the Pharisees and Sadducees. They came and went, asked him questions, argued with him. He didn't chase after Judas when Judas betrayed him, but he still loved Judas. So I think our model is Jesus, and I think you exemplify that, Leroy, in that you will give people anything, but they got to be willing to take it and use it and dribble the ball themselves. You can't, you know, you can teach them how to dribble the ball, but they're the ones who got to dribble it and get it into the basket.
Yeah, exactly. So as we close this episode out, Pastor Ron, I just wanted to say, like, for someone that is watching this podcast, that they don't go to our church, but they want to do this, you know, lift thing, right? Like, I would love for you just to give like a quick main idea of it, just to encourage them to just do more. You know what I'm saying? Like what would you say to that person? Like, I don't go to FBC, but I want to learn more like about this.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to think in terms of increase and read the book of Ruth. Ruth wanted increase. She was with Naomi, who was bitter and angry because she lost her husband and her sons. Ruth comes as a foreigner into the land of Israel as a Moabite, and Naomi's complaining about we don't have anything to eat, nothing's going right, we don't have any men in our life, like a lot of women say today. But Ruth said, "Hey, can I go work in the field of Boaz? Can I get up every day?"
That's a wild thing to say.
But she sowed her seed in the field of her future increase. And so I think people, they want increase, they want to get better, they want to do better, but you've got to see what you want. And every day you get up, you've got to get in that field that you're working in. Even when you don't see advancement, you got to know that payday's coming, that I'm going to get what God has promised me. And so I think the whole concept of lift is increasing your spiritual depth, increasing your financial security, increasing your relational availability and blessing of other people, increase your mental wisdom. And so think increase. So many people are settling today. So many people are, and then you got that whole other group, they're just complaining about why they aren't getting blessed. I think you got to think in terms of increase. This isn't prosperity gospel. This is what God says. Go and bear much fruit. I've come to give you abundant life, not redundant life. And so I think if people would just see every day as, how can I increase all the main 5 areas of my life? And that would be the focus of getting them to the level they want to be at.
We read that last night. I am the vine and you are the branches. Stay in me and hey, you will produce fruit.
And you'll produce much fruit.
Exactly. And if not,
you keep saying much fruit.
Burn the withered away.
And that's why I really wanted you to really dig deeper, because somebody on social who's a hater could take what you're saying and make it seem like we're trying to preach like a fake gospel. You're going to get this and get that. But like, you've preached on the pulpit and have lived the fact that a lot of our promises aren't going to be until we are with Jesus in heaven. And something that I think you're doing, because you are on your last leg of life, which you said. I didn't say that. He said it. I did not say that. He said it. You said you're on the last leg, right? But you're making a lot of heavenly deposits right now. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you're still trying to invest and, you know, do all that, but I do think like a lot of the things that you were doing is like, you are waiting for that prize in heaven. You know, you are waiting for like these. A lot of things that you were investing to, not with just your finances, but with your time and with your effort and speaking, like, God has something waiting for you there. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is don't boggle down the promise of God to just what's on this earth.
Yeah.
What is just here.
Yeah.
You know, like us reading the Bible and praying and telling our story to others about how Jesus helped us. That doesn't just build us up here. It builds it builds us up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lay
up treasures in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That, when we die and we finally go face to face with Jesus, we're able to say, Lord, this is what I did for you. I gave it my all.
Yeah.
And I know that's where you're at. Like, you want to be able to stand before Jesus and say, yo, I gave you everything I had in me. I gave you every part of me, Lord, I have given you. And that's what I think the main idea of Lift is I am Jesus. I'm going to give you everything that I have. And I believe, this is my personal opinion, that when you give Jesus everything you have, you will always be successful.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, just to close out, here's a closing thought. If I want to be like Jesus, which really is what John the Baptist said, he said, I need to decrease so that he may increase.
Yep.
So my increase is not just for my personal benefit, although I do get personal benefits from it. It's so that hopefully people are going to see more of Jesus in me.
Yep.
Hopefully people are going to say, man, that kind of Jesus. I know the Jesus the Baptist taught me about or the Catholics taught me about, but there's a Jesus that is a Jesus of the Jesus. That's the Jesus I want. And so when I think of Lift, I think more in terms of just imitating the life, the power, the success, the sacrifice, and the resurrection power that Jesus exhibited. If I can be more like him, then I increase and then I lift.
Exactly. So this is I love this episode, by the way. This is amazing. Guys, please, first off, if you want to learn more about our church, follow us on Facebook, Instagram at First Baptist Church. If you want to type in like a little acronym, FBCDE, type that in, and all of our pages will pop up where you'll get sermon content, small group content, and we have all that stuff there. If you want to subscribe to our podcast and Facebook page and Instagram, just type in Unmuted Podcast and you'll see our logo pop up, and that's where you'll see all of our clips. If you go on the YouTube also, it will be up there as well. And we just hope that you guys just tune in every week as we're just talking about so much stuff that is going on. So please like, subscribe, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.